Bótenle chelito.
We're about to go
We
live.
both are, especially if the stimulus check comes.
All right. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we're back. This is the Hopeful Romantic Podcast. And
Yeah.
you're here with Dropping Dimes and my girl, Maya
Woo-hoo!
Vibes. Maya Vibes, what's going on?
Hello, everybody. What's going on?
We're good. We're good, man. We're out here. What do you call it? I'm excited today because last week, my girl Maya Vibes, she held me down on one of the topics that I actually love to talk about. All right, we were literally talking about infidelity, and my past is no secret. I'm very open about the mistakes I've made in life, and that I'm not perfect. So it's something that I've navigated the waters myself, but I've also witnessed good relationships go downhill because of it, and then I've also seen couples overcome what perceived, what could have been a disastrous situation. But last week, as I was watching, I was behind the scenes. It's like, wow, she hit on a lot of great points. She was really, I liked the approach she took. She talked about the effects of men when they cheat, how it affects a woman. She talked about what they see, what they find, how it damages a relationship, how lies affect women. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? This deserves a part two because we really need to address the other side of that coin. Okay, we could address the person that got cheated on. Sometimes let's address the cheater. Let's address the cheater. Let's address what's the thought process. What happened? What made you want to risk it all? What's the difference? And that leads us into the first segment of today's show. And that is, my friends, what do you call it? It's can it be a mistake? Can it be a mistake? I know in the past people have gone really hard at me when they talk about it's not a mistake. If it was intentional, it's not a mistake. You did it. You got to own up to it. That's not a mistake. You did that. That was on purpose. So I always find it fascinating because I always have an argument against that. I'm curious to think, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it can be a mistake?
I think that sometimes it can. More often than not, there's a thought process behind it, okay? But there are instances, and I know quite a few of them, where, I'll give you a perfect example. I had a friend who was just going about his business normal, kind of guy, happy in his family relationship. And there was a woman at work who I was watching her watch him and his happiness. And she just needed a piece of that action. And outside of her going after him, he probably would have never thought to even look the other way because he was content with the life that he was living. He was playing baseball on the weekends. His wife was, doing nice things for the team. And, they had children and it was like a family thing. And it was so beautiful to watch because he was just a normal person in a normal couple. But this woman just needed a piece of that action and needed to get him away from what I thought was a cookie cutter, just beautiful, normal relationship. So do I think that sometimes it could be a mistake? Absolutely, 100%. I think it could be. Is it a mistake more often than not? I don't think so. I think that, there's a conscious, there's a thought process that goes into it, because even when you're about to make the mistake, right, you have a choice. Am I going to do it or am I not? Am I going to give into the flesh? Am I not? Right? So to some degree, yes, I think that it could be a mistake, especially because I've known cases where women have thrown themselves at men to obtain what another woman has, and which is very shameful, but it does happen.
I think two things can be true of this. You hit on it when you said that even when something is intentional, when the pre-thought process was intentional, sometimes once it happens, the thoughts that follow are like, even when, because a lot of people be like, Yeah, you're only upset once you got caught. You're only sad. That's not who I'm talking about, you see. When I address this topic, especially in my book, I'm not talking about people that are serial, you know,
Right.
their infidelity is a serial thing. I'm
Right.
talking about guys that are in a loving relationship
Mm-hmm.
and they make a mistake. Now, what does that mean to me? You know what? Okay, whatever it is that led you to that decision, you made it. And once you made it, you backtrack yourself. You walked away and said, that's not for me. Fuck, man, that was wrong. I can't believe I did that shit. Because believe it or not, there's a section of the population out there, there's a group of men out there that, aside from them in that moment not loving their wives, it's almost more serious that they didn't love themselves. You
Right.
know, that they didn't feel like they loved themselves in that moment. And they're more disappointed in themselves. You know, so a lot of people will come out and be like, no, once you made it, you made that decision. Yeah, you made that decision. Let me
That's
tell you something.
interesting.
I've
That's
been to a
interesting.
restaurant and ordered fucking salad, and then all of a sudden everybody gets their food. I'm like, fuck, I should have ordered steak. I really wanted steak. Why the hell did I order this damn salad? It was pre-planned that I wanted salad. It was talked about in advance. Yeah, I'm in the mood for salad today. Then all of a sudden, the next plate, I saw a big fat juicy steak. And I'm like, guys, I'm in a steak restaurant. What is wrong with me? So I'm not sure how people come to the conclusion that they're perfect and they don't make mistakes. You
Right.
know, the biggest issue, I'm going to let you talk. I'm sorry. I'm going to let
No,
you
go
go.
for it. Go
The
for it.
biggest issue is when you make that mistake. If that's the defining line, the delineation. When you make that mistake, between making a mistake and making a decision, is you made the mistake, you backtracked and said, it's not happening again. That was bad. I'm not doing that. I don't want that for myself. Then there's the part of it that says, I made the mistake, but I didn't get caught. I'll do it again. I'm not, and they keep going,
Yeah.
and then I think therein lies the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to say?
I think that without, mentioning any genders, like men and women, right? I think that there are a group of people that think the mistake comes when you even thought about it.
Yes.
It was a mistake to even think that you wanted to do it. That's a mistake. That means that you're a cheater, and then they make the whole big argument around that. And then there's a group of people who say the fact that you did it was an enormous mistake, right? So I think it lies in the eye of the beholder and the person who has been cheated on.
That leads us to another topic, which is, what's worse, getting emotionally cheated on or getting physically cheated on? And it's an age-old debate, because a lot of times they say that when a man cheats, a woman asks him, did you love her? If he says no, maybe we can repair this, because you didn't give her what I hold sacred, which is your emotions.
Right.
When a woman cheats, a man asks him, did you fuck him? Because if you shared or he gave you something, is he more man than me? Then right. I can't forgive that. I can't get over that. But if you just shared some emotion, that means I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. If I fix myself, we could be right again. You know what I mean? That's how we almost process it. And those are the two different thoughts, right? So for a man, I feel like only because we are able to look at it that way because of the way we view sex sometimes.
Right.
There's a funny comedian, he passed away, his name was Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal talked about a man can live in a beautiful house, have a beautiful car, 3 kids, a dog, a gorgeous model wife, right? And somebody walks up to him and says, hey man, you see that girl? That girl wants to have sex with you. And he'll look. He goes, who? The girl with a little bit of vomit right here? Like peeing behind the dumpster? Peeing behind the dumpster? And she looks at him and he goes, yeah. And the guy, despite having everything that he wants in life, will go, it's a toss-up. You ask the same woman, the woman that is happy in her marriage. You ask her, she has her kids, her house, everything is in order, and she's happy. You ask her the same question, like, no, are you crazy? I'm not going to risk it all.
Right.
But it's not so much about love, it's about our view about the physical.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in that portion, I'm like, we're able to communicate that to women, because of how we view sex. We view sex where a lot of men can do it, walk away, never. That person doesn't even have a face.
But I think here's the thing, right? It's especially with men who carry on in a relationship with another woman, right? It's okay, you got into this physical relationship with this person, and we can call that a mistake. Did you have to do it over and over and over again? Like,
Wait.
you
You
can't
know what I
walk
addressed
away
it.
from it. I mean,
Sometimes people aren't married to their soulmate.
yes,
I'm sorry to say this.
true.
There's some times where the side woman, that side chick, that's the soulmate. It was
Oh,
never the wife. The problem he made was he made that commitment and he crossed that line where he said and he claimed that this woman was, but she wasn't. You know
right.
what I mean? And then you'll end up with a man that has a woman on the side that he's been with for 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years. And you're like, but why? No. I love the life that I built with you, but this is my connection over here. And a lot of people, that's a conversation people won't have. You know, people
Mhm.
won't cross that and be like, no, they always give the woman, the wife, the mother, the lady of the house, the benefit of the doubt as being the one. Yo, believe it or not, sometimes the side chick is the one. You're the one that fit the bill. You're the Jacqueline Onassis. You're the Kennedy who said, I need a wife that looks like this, fits this category, checks all these boxes. This is who I want to be my wife. This is the one that's going to get me to my next level of my career. This is the one that I can sit down with the CEO, that I can take to these dinners, and it's going to look beautiful. This is the one that if I fail, it's going to raise my kids and be a survivor. Men do that. We can
Yes.
lie to ourselves and say no, but we do. You know what I mean? And then sometimes we meet a woman that triggers all these feelings, emotions inside of us, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, you're with her, and you're like, what the? You're obligated to this one, and you're responsible to this one, but you love being with this one. I'm
Yeah, but
not saying it's right.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? And we had this discussion outside of this conversation. Those low vibration women, and that we're going to do a whole topic about that.
Low vibration.
Those low vibration women who these men are considering their soul mate, right? Are clearly knowing that you have another relationship, or eventually going to find out that you have another relationship, right? So is that person really truly your soulmate, right? Is it truly your soulmate if you haven't disclosed to her that you have another relationship that is, that you're married? Okay, is that really your soulmate if you
See,
can't
that's
tell
a
that
different
person that?
story. If we're talking a longevity in a outside the marriage relationship, longevity,
Mm-hmm.
then that person usually knows. You know what I'm saying? You're not with somebody 3, 5, 6 years, even more than 2 years, and they don't know about your wife. Usually, unless you're watching some kind of like detective show on Inside Edition or something. But most of the time, women know. You know, if that's the case. Now, the question I ask you is this: you're using guidelines, right? Like marriage that are man-made, that are whatever, to cross over and say what the heart feels. You know what I mean? Like you cannot control. Like I just said, you could have married this person because they checked all the family boxes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these people are right. They're wrong for crossing that boundary. They're wrong for breaking the oath that they made to this person.
Right.
But if you look deeper, sometimes you made the oath not because that's what you wanted, but because that's what your family wanted, but because that's what they thought was best, because that's what the culture wanted. And in reality, this is what you want. And this is where you want to be. You know what I mean? And for that, I say, yo, look, that happens. That's the other side of cheating. You know what I mean? It's a side that's not discussed, where everything is disgusting, it's horrible, oh my God, da 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 da. Nobody ever said, well, what if he loved her more? What if he loves her more?
Okay, look, can it be a mistake? It can be a mistake. Okay, let's just say that it can be a mistake. But there is also, you can't ignore the fact that there's a thought process that comes with this cheating business. Okay. There's a thought process. I meet this person. I engage in certain conversations that I probably shouldn't engage in. There's a physical connection, there's a physical touch, and then there's the cheating motion. Okay. That's an entire thought process, dude. Okay. And we were talking last week about, forgiveness and reconnecting and all this stuff. It's super difficult for a woman, especially, to be able to connect with a guy again after, because that's the way we think. I'm like, you took all of these steps. For a guy, it's like I took steps 1 to 2, 2 being the mistake. For a woman, it was like, no, you didn't. You took steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to get to that point. Okay. So it's hard for a woman to turn around and forgive those mistakes. Okay. Talk to me about your personal experience and the actions that you have taken to turn somebody around after you personally made a mistake. What actions do men take to reel that woman back in, considering the fact that, this other person didn't really mean anything to them, and they're really truly in love with their wife or their significant other.
And once again, right? Once again, we're going to assume that it starts with what we do for the woman. See, I think that's an area that needs to be rewritten. It never starts with what you do for your woman to get her back. That's not where you start. Where you start is what you do for yourself. You have to stop and you have to say, the biggest I'm sorry you can give is true change. That's the biggest I'm sorry you can give. There's no greater apology. There's no greater flower. There's nothing you can do, right, outside of true change. After that, all right, you display the behaviors in the direction of the person that you love to prove that you have changed, because that's going to happen. You're going to have to show them better than you can tell them with your actions, and that again, that will happen. But to think that, you have to win her back, that comes second to being honest with yourself. See, a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll lie to themselves and be like, it was a one-time thing. No, I want her back. I love her. And they go and they win her back. And as soon as they got her back and that ego is satisfied where they didn't lose her, guess what they run and do? They run and do it again. See, here's the thing. A woman will set a line of respect. Okay? She'll set the line of respect. Here's the problem. When you forgive a man without true change, without his actions, without him really making the strides to change, what essentially he does, he erases that line. Women set the boundary. And this is in this direction. We're going to talk about in the other direction. Women set the boundary on infidelity. When the man is unfaithful and you don't take a hard stance and make him pay, and I don't mean like make him pay by make him suffer by staying with him, but make him feel what your loss to his life.
Let him know that you're willing to walk out. Yeah.
Right. If you're the way when he loses you, right, is something important, impactful to his life. If you can't prove that, all he does is that line of respect, he's erase it, and he draws another one. So now guess what? A lot of times our women's reaction, right, is conditioning a man, right, to tell him what acceptable behavior is. So every time a woman forgives him, every time a woman takes him back, every time a woman allows him to treat her wrong, treat her back, all he's doing, and this is a game of cat and mouse that men and women play in immature relationships. You set the line, it's like little kids. Here's the boundary. Don't go in here. What do? They put their toe over just to see what you would do. And if you don't do it before you know it, your foot's in there. And if you don't do it before you know it, your hand's in there. You don't do it, you ate the whole cookie. You know what I mean? And that's how men are with women. And when you don't stand on that line, you will never see. This is when I talk about men compartmentalize. You will never be in the wife girlfriend box if you don't, or stay there if you don't hold your line. Because now he knows, oh, I could cheat and I could come back. I could cheat, I could come back. How many people in our lives have we seen that? How many people have we seen that?
Too many.
Right.
Too many. That's why you gotta set. You're absolutely right. Set the boundary and set the tone where, listen, I'm willing to walk away. And this is the reason why that we could do another whole show about this, is that women need to be strong financially and mentally in order to be able to say, I'm not staying. I don't need to. I can do for myself. I can walk out of this at any moment and walk about my life and business as if nothing ever happened.
What's the leading cause of divorce?
What's the what?
Leading cause of divorce in this
finances.
Right? Isn't it crazy how a woman is more likely to stay with a man that cheats on her than she is with a man that can't provide for her?
Provide for her. That's true.
That's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the part of the story they don't tell. What they don't tell is that when a woman is sick and tired of being sick and tired, she weighs all the infidelity with the same amount of weight that she weighs the other part. When she's gone forever.
Done. Yeah.
You know? We touched on something earlier, and you had statistics to back up your point, and I wanted to address what I saw. And we were talking about who cheats more, men or women, right? And you gave me a statistic. You're gonna do it again. Go ahead, give us the stat on who cheats more.
So according to Psychology Today, 2.3% of women cheat, 4.3% of men cheat. Hang on, I have another one. Other studies show 25% of men, 11% women.
Okay.
You have a different take on that.
Yeah, I absolutely do. Because, first of all, how about this? Where is the statistic, right? Go a little deeper and ask yourself, within that cheating, well, let's get off that. Who cheats better?
Women.
How do we ever really know? How do we ever really know that number is correct? What, the honor system? The honor system? Openly admitting? I think men are more open to admit, yeah, you know, I fucked up, I've been whatever. Because to me, again, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you know, obviously there's women that don't fit this category that just, you know, they want more than one penis. They don't want one penis anymore. Well, they don't believe in that. I'm going
to tell you because we have a lot of friends, a lot of girlfriends, right? And over the years, I've heard so many different scenarios. And you have the woman who, and again, we're going to do an episode on this, the low vibration women who don't give a crap. They think like men. They're going to do it because it's available, and men cheat all the time, and that's that quick, fast mentality, okay? Then you have a group of women who really think about it, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not happy in my relationship. Yeah, the sex isn't where I want it to be. But do I really want to go there? Do I really want to give my body to somebody that, you know, is really not going to stay in my life? And obviously I know that I'm not going to establish anything more than just maybe a one-night stand or just a short-term, you know, kind of cheat thing. Do I really want to do that? So there's a lot of, you know, there's a different mentality and ways of thinking when it comes to, you know, cheating for a woman.
Women cheats that way, right? Let me ask you something. When you come across women that act like that, right, and say, "Oh, I'm just gonna cheat," and da 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 da, is there ever a seminal or a moment in their life that you could draw back to and be like, "Oh, that's when they were hurt and this mentality took over"?
Oh, chances are that these women have been hurt in their past, whether it's because it was a very severe, you know, case. when they were of trauma when they were young. Maybe it was the first, experience that they had when they lost their virginity. Maybe it was,
Daddy issues.
first love that they lost, whether it was by death or just because the person left. So yeah, I find that for those people, more likely than not, when you start to dive deep into their psyche, it's some sort of trauma that has occurred to them, and that's the reason why they've come up with this, way of thinking. But let's just talk about the woman who's sitting at home, and I'll tell you, because I, and to some degree, was that woman, right? When I went to work for corporate America, I remember being at the coffee machine, okay, and I was probably there no more than a week, right? And I used to get suited up, and I was really all about the corporate vibe. I was super excited. My boss came up from behind. He stood way too close. Now at that moment, I didn't even think about ever cheating or looking at another man, okay? And this guy came, and he didn't press himself on me, but he was a little bit too close for comfort, and he goes to me, "Do you love your husband?" And I don't know, this is so strange, because when he said that to me, I instantly thought Disney Vacation. That's so bizarre. That's what I thought. Disney Vacation. And I'm like, I absolutely 100% love my husband. And there started this flirting and this persistence. And I was the one. And the way, and I never cheated. I always say this, I don't have a cheating heart. But we entered into a platonic relationship at work that was so intense, to the point where if I knew that he wasn't coming into work, I would work from home. Right? And I remember calling him one day from the bus station, and he called me actually, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm not going to be in work today." And I said, I was literally at the platform of the train, right? And I said, "If you're not going to be at work, then there's no sense of me going." He's like, "Stay home, work from home," which was more convenient, because now we were able to work one-on-one on projects from home, right? So it was a constant plotting that, and this is where I say, when there's somebody who's intrusive in a relationship, a mistake could potentially happen, but you have to be strong.
You got to understand those people, right? A lot of times, especially for men, I can't speak for women, well, and I'm sure there are for women, but there's predators. Just like I always say, a thief or a criminal could walk into a house or walk into a room or whatever, and they can tell who the victim is going to be. Believe it or not, people that are looking for that sexual encounter, a lot of times they look at somebody and they just say, they size you up and they see it in you.
He saw it coming for me, because so this was at the tail end of my marriage, which was kind of like, dying out in every sense of the word. We were living in separate rooms, and this guy here was empowering me, teaching me new things, inviting me to industry.
What he was doing was he was fulfilling a part of you that you couldn't fulfill yourself, right? And within the marriage, it was lost, because a lot of times what happens within marriages is people will remember, that's my wife. They'll remember, that's the mother of my child. What they forget is, that's a woman first. And they stop addressing the woman in you. So what happens is, you go to a job where you meet a man that was addressing the woman in you. It wasn't what he was teaching you. It wasn't what he was showing you.
It wasn't any of that.
He was addressing the woman in you. And that intrigued you, lit a candle in you again.
And the aggressiveness really was I think one of the biggest turn-ons, because I was like, first of all, I was in a contained environment, right? I could not act in certain ways because there are HR rules that prevented that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he provided this little escape, and he knew the rules and knew
The
how to
little
do it. Because
fantasy.
obviously, yeah, because obviously he knew, the game. And I'm
And the
walking
crazy
in
part
as a
is,
little lamb, right?
yeah,
So if I would have cheated, which it just never, was a thought in my brain. If I would have cheated, then, that was a mistake that I would have made because somebody intrusive was coming at me. And
not only that,
I
but
think that, mhm.
you got to understand, right? I was watching the Tyler Perry movie a while back, and then I kind of looked into it, and I really was intrigued, right? And it was used for men, and that 80-20 rule. And in that situation, right, where he's fulfilling 80% of what you have in your brain, right? Because that's what you need. And I mean, 20% that's missing in your life, he's fulfilling that. And you're like, I feel like a woman again. He's making me whatever.
But
But
this
guess
guy
what?
was guessing because I was never able to give that information, right? So this guy was literally guessing. I think it was like he just saw my demeanor.
Yeah.
I would probably come in and be like, oh my God.
And the way you entertain, as soon as a man throws out, or women, as soon as, okay, the quickest way, right, you can tell if somebody's going to cheat. There's hundreds of examples on TikTok, Instagram. There's guys that purposely do this, right? And what they'll do is people will talk, they'll send them a message and be like, hey man, my wife, I don't know, my girlfriend seems like something's up. I'm not sure what's going on. Can you try to get on and see what's up? The number one indicator within that field to see if somebody's a cheater or not, right off the rip, is if they respond.
Oh yeah.
Not if there's a conversation, not if there's a long-winded answer, if there's an answer. So a woman that is, or a man that is faithful, when somebody sends them a message, an innuendo, anything, their energy projects so much faithfulness, so much strength that people don't dare cross that line.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're not projecting that, I always say this, man, and I'll say this to the day I die. When I was single, right, and I was hanging out, whether it's with your friends, other people's friends, it didn't matter who it was, right? And I wanted to get laid.
Girls.
And I wanted to get laid. You know what I would listen for? My ear would be like this. And I'd be listening for the one woman that was like, because my husband, and I love my husband, and my husband,
oh yes,
because my husband takes me, and my husband, and I'd be looking at them like this.
That is the biggest joke.
Yep. Oh, you're gonna get it tonight.
Yeah.
Because people that are happy, I was having a conversation last night with a couple, and I was like, they were saying how, oh, people don't advertise me, he doesn't put me out there, da da da. And I'm like, he doesn't have to. 99% of the time, when you're with somebody, you're happy. This is what it looks like, right? I was giving the example. I was like, when a woman is unhappy, this is what it looks like. My husband, and I love my husband and my husband. When a woman, and all over Facebook, plastering him, and look at us, because I have to show the world to convince myself, right, that it's good. Look at the image I'm portraying. You know what a woman looks like when she's happy with her husband? And you ask her, hey, how's your husband? Yeah, he's there. He's there. He's there. He's there. Not, well, it's cool. Yeah. I see him every day.
Let me tell you something. I have always had that philosophy. When I see a woman who's constantly, talking about the flowers that he sent and the gifts that he gave her, what I think is either he's not giving it to you well in the bedroom and he's overcompensating, or you're full of shit, right? Because no marriage is that perfect. And he gives me this, and he gives me that, and he gives me.
It's like the internet.
And I'm like, tell me about the heck he's giving you, and then I'll have a little bit more respect for it, because it's unrealistic. It's like that Cinderella dream story. Come on.
It's like the internet, right? Guess what you put on the internet? When I'm on vacation, when I'm at a nice restaurant, when I'm out, what do I post? I post things that are exceptional in my life, that are stand up. I don't post when I'm sitting in my bed, folding my bed, when I'm doing my laundry. I don't post when, hey, I'm making breakfast. Hey, look, I'm moving my furniture. I don't post the mundane shit that happens every day, right? What do I post? I post the things that are beautiful about my life, or the exceptional things that don't happen every day. So when a woman is posting a man in that fashion or that manner, she's literally telling the world, this doesn't happen every day, so I have to post it. It's like a vacation. Blah, look, this doesn't happen.
Hey, no, that's not
Me
true.
and my
I
husband,
just posted a picture of my boyfriend, and the only reason I did it was because I had never done that before. I just felt like doing it. You know what I mean? It's like it's getting a little bit more concrete and just a little blast. So that's not necessarily true. You know what I find funny and interesting when you're talking about online? Oh my God, these pictures of the couple on the face sheet. What is that? I always say, if you have your man or your woman together with you on that thing, it's because somebody cheated. Somebody cheated. That's the reason why you have to let the whole world know, look, we're together. This is how I feel. I think that our pages, right, our Facebook pages, are our own individual way of expressing ourselves. Okay? And there is absolutely no reason in a loving relationship where there's trust and transparency for two people to have Mary Jane and John's Facebook page. Where's the individuality there? Unless you're doing something together, like you're working together on a project and it warrants you guys putting your stuff out there because you're a package deal, right? And that's what's going to help you sell your merchandise, your vine, okay? But I think that when I see that, I'm like, these two are not allowing each other the space and time to express themselves. And there either is the fear that the other person is going to cheat, or it has happened already. And now somehow you think that collectively, joining and meshing your lives like conjoined twins on a Facebook page is going to stop that from ever happening again. I think that's the most ridiculous display of artificial love that has ever existed on the face of the earth. That's how I see it. Maybe I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's a complete facade. Okay? Now, there's a difference between I'm a couple and I post my person in my my page every so often, but I'm constantly changing my picture, and once in a while you'll see it, but you'll see me individually, and then once in a while if I like a picture I'll post it again. You know what I mean? Like that. But these people who have permanent pictures of the two of them and their actual Facebook says blank and blank, that to me is a lack of trust. And you might as well post on there, this fucker cheated on me, so he can't be left alone. Like, you know what I mean? It's craziness. I really don't like that.
I feel like the internet, right? I think the internet is blamed for a lot. In situations like that, I run across both types of couples. One couple, where, yeah, you were right. You hit it right on the head. He cheated, or, there was a situation and, they overcompensating, like, we're back together, blah, blah. Kind of put it out to the world. Look, bitch, this is my man, kind of thing. And then I've seen it where they're actually both not that into Facebook. So one page was enough. And they really only posted to put family pictures up. So I've kind of seen both. I steered away from that thinking at first.
I would like to see something like that. I've not seen that.
I really heavy into it, and I really thought about it. But then I saw a few examples of people that they're just not that into Facebook at all. They're not into social media at all. So they barely post. Then there's people that have careers, right, where their career, for instance, if you're in entertainment, your career doesn't necessarily mesh with a relationship. You know what I mean? So what you do is you guard it, and you put it out there. But then your spouse or your significant other will be like, hey, I want to have a space. So you do that kind of as like, okay, look, Look, let me show you. This is us. You know what I mean? So there's point being, there's different reasons, there's different avenues on why people do things. My thing is this, right? The internet can't cure the ills of your relationship, and it cannot necessarily hurt your relationship. A lot of people want to blame, oh, because of Facebook and because of the. No, that's like blaming the bar for the alcoholic falling off the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Facebook is the bar. The bar is there, but it represents a bigger issue. It represents a bigger part of what is wrong in this relationship. It's symbolic of what is wrong in this relationship when somebody goes there. You know, I don't feel that it causes. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, but the thought process was already there. The thought process was already in the works. You know, what I want to talk about now is about women who cheat, and then its effects on men. They say, right, when a woman cheats, women pay for the next 10 years. When a woman cheats on a man, right, women will pay for the next 10 years for that man, for the mistake he made. When a man cheats, the next 10 men pay for the mistake that man made.
Right.
When a woman cheats on a man, it hurts you to your soul. I'm not saying it doesn't for women, but I think it has almost a longer lingering effect.
For a man, you mean?
For a man, where it can literally destroy what they perceive as a healthy, long relationship. There's usually a long gap between a man that got cheated on and his next serious relationship.
I've seen that. I'm in no way, shape, or a relationship coach, right? And in fact, I refer them to you, right? And recently, the latest person that I referred to you, this person has been alone for 3 years after this beautiful relationship that he thought he had, right? 3 years, and it's been super hard for him to get over it. And I'm like, my heart goes out to him, and I think to myself, if that's how men react, right, then more women should know about it, because it is super heartbreaking. I mean, he's serial dated after that.
The thing is this, my wife. The problem is this. For the most part, we've established that a lot of women, when they cheat, they've been checking out of the relationship. And they've been giving him all the news, information, everything that he needed. All right? Here's the problem. A lot of times, so a woman will give a man all the information he needs, right, in advance. Hey, listen, this is what's happening. Hey, I'm not happy. Hey. And then one day, like we always say, she goes quiet. And then she's checked out of the relationship, right? By then it's too late, right? That's usually when it's too late, that's usually when guys want to do everything she asks for. That's one scenario. The other scenario is a lot of times a woman goes quiet because she realized this man could never give me what I've wanted. He's not the one that can give it to me. You know what I mean? For a man, we get affected the day our ego gets bruised. It's our ego that gets destroyed first. And that rebuild process, that's at 3 years.
Wow.
That's at 3 years.
That's devastating.
That rebuild. You get destroyed. You doubt everything about yourself, about your life. And you literally have to start rebuilding yourself brick by brick by brick by brick. Right? Brand new. But remember, I didn't allow myself to feel it at first. A lot of times when a man gets cheated on or breaks up with a woman, that first 6 to 8 weeks, you throw that out the window, because that's 6 to 8 weeks of debauchery, of just wilding, trying to cover up the pain. So I haven't even dealt with the pain yet. Right? 2 months out, I haven't dealt with the pain yet. Now all of a sudden I got to face the pain. Where do I start? It all goes back to my dad's advice. You got to rebuild spiritually, emotionally, financially. You don't know where to start. and all of a sudden you take one at a time, slowly, and you start to, and then one day you finally rebuild. And that's why they say, like, that joke is that 10 years later a woman could come back into his life, because what we're joking on is that that's how long the process takes. It
Wow.
doesn't really take that long. It's individualized, depending on the person. But yeah, that ego rebuild, that rebuilding of self-esteem, emotions, trust, all those things have to come back. The good thing about, from what I hear, from what I see with men, is that once it comes back, it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And a woman can reset that table. A lot of times with women, the best man can come right in front of them, and because of what happened 20 years ago, they still have those doubts and
Are you gonna cheat? Are you?
It's like they're waiting for the shoe to drop. It's like they're waiting for the shoe to drop. And you're like, no, it's never gonna drop. We're good. No, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. And a lot of times it puts it in a situation where they start to make a man pay for a heart they didn't break. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, we could talk. There's so many layers to infidelity.
Oh gosh.
There's so many. We really just scratched the surface, and we're gonna move on to another topic eventually. But we're just scratching the surface, and I know we're definitely taking different angles on what we're talking about. Maybe some of the people in the audience, they wanted to address it in a certain manner, or they wanted to address a certain topic or a certain type of infidelity. By all means, send us the information. We'll read on it. Either I'll answer the question or I'll send it back, however you see fit. But what I will say is this: there's emotional cheating, there's physical cheating. Every couple sets their boundaries and what's acceptable. Okay? There's couples that I know that like it when the husband flirts with the waitress. There's couples that I know.
Let me just tell you this. When I was married, okay, I remember we were at a company party, and somebody came up to me and said, your husband is talking to the Mexican intern. And I said, oh, really? Okay. I went over to, by the time I realized that they were, separate, I went over to him, I grabbed his hand. I went over to her, I grabbed her hand. And I was like, enjoy a talk at the bar. What's the big deal? To me at that point, because we had been married and we were solid, I felt like, I trust you 100%. He never gave me any reason not to. Have a conversation.
Then why'd you go over there?
The only reason I went was because somebody had brought it to my attention, and I went over there to solidify that this doesn't bother me. Please, by all means, continue your conversation. Don't go and separate, because somebody noticed and thought it was something else. Have a conversation. It's healthy. You're not sitting there with your hands up her skirt, and you're not sitting there, salivating over my husband. You were just talking about your experience in your country and whatever, because she said and then when we were all said and done, he was like, what are you pushing me over to her for? He's like, no, I want to go dance with you. And I was like, it's okay, it's fine. He came and danced with me, and then she came and was like, Ruby, I want to say thank you. She's like, thank you, because I trusted, you know what I mean? I didn't, I'm not going to turn around and say that, yeah, by all means, go and, do that all the time. But every so often, it's okay. If we're out on a dance floor, okay, and we're having a couple of drinks and we're having a good time, okay, babe, go dance. Let me see you with another chick and enjoy the view and see what you look like. Go do it. You better.
Because I'm mad territorial. Hey, God bless you, and good look. That's cool with you. But now, fuck that, not me. No,
Like,
mine is mine.
Controlled environment.
No,
okay?
I'm not. Listen, I am not a jealous person, and I know that my girlfriend vouch for that. Where I'm gonna be like, yo, what are you looking at? I'm definitely not like that. But I am super passive aggressive when it comes to shit. And I will point it out. And I'm very territorial as far as what boundaries are.
I'm territorial.
We're sitting at a table, and the way
I better know her.
We're sitting at a table, and the waiter's getting cute. I'm looking at the waiter like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I know it's petty. Hey, but okay, I'll be petty LaBelle. I'll be petty white. I'm fine with that. I don't give a damn. But I promise you, I'm not. The one thing I'm not is a pushover, because I know enough men that are sizing people up. And here's the thing: it's to me now, like at least in the relationship I'm in now, it's not about the men. I trust my. I trust.
Listen, I don't think my boyfriend, my boyfriend would be like you. He's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. That guy comes near you, could whatever, you know, he would not be accepting of it. But what I'm telling you is, if we're out, even let's say we're out at a family function, friends, and we have a lot of girlfriends, right? So if I'm at a party, I'll turn around and say I used to tell Bernard all the time, listen, go dance with, you know, my girlfriends. Go and have a good time, especially if she's like sitting there like a lump on a log. Go and get her. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to turn around and say that to him, to an absolutely gorgeous model.
Right, but you're also dealing with somebody that has earned that trust and earned that credit with you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But think about this: there's a lot of people that have men in their relationship or have families that don't have, a relationship where the men haven't or the women haven't earned that credit.
No. You got to earn it. You got to earn that. That takes a while to earn. It took him 15 years to earn that. You know what I mean? Right. And like I told you at the beginning of my relationship, I was standing at the door, not letting him walk out. Right. And then eventually we got to those points because he never gave me any reason to believe that, you know, and I'm not saying that he was perfect. I'm not saying that he never did it, but he just never gave me a reason to even suspect anything. So he earned that.
Maybe I'm in the minority in this aspect too. I always want my girl to be a little bit jealous about me. Always. I always wanted her to carry that potential where, other people want her. Other people see what I see. Other people find them fascinating.
I don't know that I.
The day you stop feeling that, the day you start taking them for granted. The day you stop feeling that, is the day you start feeling nobody wants her ass. No, I want women. I want her to know. I want her to know, not for other women, not for me to step out, but I want it always to be known that, sweetheart, what you have is special. This communication level that you get, this heartfelt communication, this knowledge, this insight that you get from me, there's women out there dying for that. Yeah, not that I'm going to put it in her face. Not that I need her to be like, oh, what the fuck? No. But I want that, because that right there will always have
some guys do that. Some guys do that and kind of make you feel like, without obviously saying it, in that they take care of themselves, they go to the gym, they keep themselves, good looking and fit. That sort of thing is what keeps me like on my feet, like on my toes. Like right now, collectively the two of us are going through this, journey of improvement and all this other stuff. I know that, he lost some weight and he's looking great and this and that. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stay up there, because that's what makes me feel like, somebody could come in, be a little interested in them. So I'm going to do the same things for myself. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to, stay, we're going to be, on the same levels in that sense. So it doesn't matter how you do it, right? Or how a guy does it. But yeah, maybe a little bit of, of that, instilling insecurity in a woman might work for some men. Some girls don't.
I don't look at it as instilling insecurity. What I look at it as making sure she never loses track of the man in me.
Right.
Never lose track of the man that you fell in love. I'm never going to forget who I am. See, what happens is men will forget who they are. And how do you expect your wife to remember? Right. You lost yourself a long time ago. You're not the same stud. You're not the guy that works out. You're not the guy that does this, has hobbies, has a life, has friends. All of a sudden, you're dead inside. How do you expect her to remember who you are? So my thing is, I'm always going to remember who I am. And I'm always going to remind her who I am. Again, who I am is a faithful man to her. But I always want to remind her, like, hey, listen, what you have is special. And I expect her to do the same with me. You know what? And I'm not talking about physically, because that's superficial. I'm talking about, I need to always remember how quick-witted she is, how sharp she is, how smart, how she's a boss. All those things, I always want to see the woman in her. I always want to be able to address that part of her. You know what I mean? And I like it when she's around a group of people, when she's in business, when she's doing things, and the way she's talking, the way she's moving. it reminds me, yo, I'm with a boss chick right here. This is dope. And you
Mm-hmm.
always have to remind your partner that. Again, people will remember you're my wife, you're my kid's mother, or you're my husband, you're my kid's son, father. What they forget is that, oh shit, you're a woman first, you're a man first. And that's what happens to a lot of couples that are together for a lot of years. They're together all the 20 years. Their kids are grown and out of the house. So all those years, those kids worked as a buffer. So I could look at you as a woman and a mother
Right.
and a wife. You can look at me as a husband and a father, because we have so much in between going on, and life is so crazy that we could afford to do that. Then 20 years later, the kids are out of the house, and now we're looking at each other. And
Like,
this is the crossroads. Do we stay together?
oh, I've been
Now,
with you all this time.
you'll hear it. No, you'll hear it. We were only together because of the children.
Yeah.
Meaning, I don't like that man. Meaning, I don't like that woman.
Yeah.
That's where. But the couples that succeed look at each other and go, I've always loved the woman in her. I've always loved the man in him. You know what I'm saying? And those couples last forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. They don't lose track. And a lot of times, infidelity, all these different things, is a result of that. It's of losing. There's a lot of components to it, but one of the major ones is losing track. Hey, man, that's not just a man that can't provide finances and da-da-da. That's also this person I fall in love with, you know? But and with that, we'll come to the end of the program. Hey, I want to say thank you. I know you held it down last week. You got a lot of comments,
You're welcome.
a lot of people hitting you up. Just look forward in the future. Maya Vibes is going to be doing her own segment. It's about a 30-minute segment. She's going to be dropping her own knowledge. She's going to be dropping her point of view from a woman that's been dating and relationships, from her experience. She's going to be giving you it's going to be a subset of the Hope for Romantic podcast. It's going to be the Maya Vibes, all right, where she goes out there and she puts her thoughts to the airwaves. I also have another sub-segment of the Hope for Romantic podcast called Hope and Wellness coming. Hope and Wellness, Hope for the Hope for Romantic podcast, Wellness for Totality Wellness, which is Dr. Raphael's practice. And we're going to be talking about some things. We're going to be doing a 30-minute segment throughout the week. And we hope to cross genres where maybe Dr. Raphael sits with Maya Vibes, maybe, we cross reference with each other. So it's kind of to expand our audience and, reach out to more people. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you got anything to say in closing? You want to say?
I just want to say that it was a pleasure, doing the segment last week, and I am looking forward to bringing some really cool people on, getting some more male perspective on, topics that relate to women. Okay, that maybe guys haven't had a voice, in their opinion. One of the topics that I want to explore in my own podcast is this new thought process that I came across from a guy, a friend of mine, who was basically telling me that there's a movement of men who rather be by themselves, okay, in every sense of the word, rather than buying into the whole gold digging, kind of mentality. It's a strong movement that's gaining momentum since I believe it's 2019, actually. So not only is there a shortage of men, but now we got men that don't want to be with women because women, have this mentality of gold digging and are losing a sense of themselves, through all of this materialistic mentality. So that's one thing that I really want to, expand on and explore, and hopefully we'll reel some guys back in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a great topic for you to,
Yeah.
like I said, to discuss. So look out for that, man. And not to mention, we're streamlining some of the production behind the scenes. We're getting some things in order because in the future, we're going to be putting out, a full podcast on all the major airwaves. Like I said, I've been working really hard for some sponsorship behind the scenes. Well, not really hard because they approached us, but to get some stuff out there. We're really lucky to be able to start with some really cool upstart companies. That's all coming really soon. Like I said, we're just trying to gain some momentum. Comment down below. Let us know what you think. What are your thoughts on infidelity? Is it a mistake? Can people bounce back? Can people regain trust? Is it ever really the same? Who cheats more? Who cheats more often? Who cheats better? Whatever it is that you feel like you need to drop. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, buy my book, Shallow River to Deep Ocean, A Man's Guide to Understanding His Woman by First Understanding Himself. The second leg of the book tour is Orlando, Florida. I still don't have the specifics on that date. I'll have to talk to my management. Down here in Fort Lauderdale, we got 2 super dope venues that are actually vying for my event. And I'm going to be doing some collaborations with some other podcasts and some people that are also, artists, whether it's with writing comic books, regular books, film, that are going to be working in conjunction with me for this event. So we're really excited about that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Love you, Thor.